My dear brothers and sisters, from a young age we were taught noble values, principles that shaped how we treat others. We were told to be kind, to smile as it's sunnah, to never judge, and always give others the benefit of the doubt. And yes, these teachings are deeply rooted in our beautiful Deen. They reflect the character of the Prophet Muhammad, who was the embodiment of mercy. But somewhere along the way, many of us began to misunderstand what these teachings truly mean. You see, kindness in Islam is not meant to be blind. It's not meant to come without wisdom, without balance, or at the expense of your own well-being. It is not meant to cost you your mental peace, your emotional stability, or your dignity. Yet for many of us, that's exactly what's happening. We keep showing up for people who don't value us. We continue forgiving those who don't acknowledge their mistakes. We allow our hearts to be trampled because we believe that's what patience looks like. We assume that this is what Allah expects of us. But that's a dangerous misunderstanding. Islam teaches mercy, but never at the price of self-harm. Let that sink in. Yes, our religion is one of compassion, of forgiveness, of gentleness even in the face of cruelty. Yes, the Prophet forgave the people of Taif who injured him until he bled. He was patient with his enemies, kind to those who mocked him, and merciful even when wronged. But here's what we often overlook. He never let mercy destroy him. He didn't allow compassion to trap him emotionally. He didn't continue offering chances to people who were clearly abusive or had no remorse. He didn't keep welcoming those who disrespected him and had no intention of changing. Allah is Ar-Rahman, the most merciful, and He commands us to show mercy. But He also commands us to protect ourselves. There is no virtue in allowing yourself to be emotionally crushed. There is no reward in enabling harm. There is no blessing in turning your heart into a battlefield just to maintain peace around you. When your kindness becomes a tool others use to manipulate you, when your forgiveness is seen as permission to hurt you again, when your gentleness invites more disrespect than compassion, that's not righteousness. That's a warning from Allah, a sign to pause, to reflect, to change direction. If you continue down that path thinking, this is what Allah wants from me, you might be mistaking silent suffering for spiritual strength. But Islam was never meant to be a burden. It's a mercy, not a trap. Don't confuse being good with being gullible. Don't confuse having a soft heart with having no self-worth. Too many are emotionally, spiritually, even physically, exhausted in the name of kindness. But Islam is not about draining yourself to fill others. It's not about setting yourself on fire to keep others warm. That's not what the Prophet did. That's not what Allah wants for you. Sometimes we let others walk over us and we stay quiet. Not because it's okay, but because we think our silence is noble. We assume that enduring quietly brings us closer to Allah. But ask yourself, is that what the Prophet did? Yes, he was kind. Yes, he was forgiving. Yes, he had the softest heart in the harshest times. He smiled at strangers, cared for the poor, stood with the oppressed, and responded to hatred with dignity. The Quran even says, "And we have not sent you, O Muhammad, except as a mercy to the worlds." Surah Al-Anbiya 21:107. But we often forget he also walked away. Despite his immense mercy, the Prophet set clear and healthy boundaries. He forgave people, yes, but when their actions became harmful or toxic, he didn't keep them close. He made hijrah from Mecca when the oppression grew unbearable. He distanced himself from hypocrites in Medina who endangered the Ummah from within. He didn't let the softness of his heart become an open door for abuse. He walked away from those who refused to change. He stood up to repeated harm. He protected his emotional, physical, and spiritual space, even from family if necessary. This is the part we've forgotten. We speak of his forgiveness, but not his limits. We highlight his mercy, but not how he removed toxic influences. We remember his patience, but not his moments of decisive action. He didn't allow people to manipulate his kindness. He didn't endlessly forgive without accountability. He didn't stay silent to please others. Abuse is not ibadah. The Prophet's kindness had boundaries, not because he lacked compassion, but because he understood the sacred value of emotional dignity. He didn't excuse disrespect disguised as misunderstanding. He knew the difference between a sincere mistake and a consistent pattern of mistreatment. He called out hypocrisy. He corrected injustice. He walked away from those who used religion as a tool for control. His kindness was never weakness. It was strength wrapped in gentleness. It was discipline without harshness, justice without vengeance. And that, my beloved brothers and sisters, is what we've forgotten. We've embraced only half of the sunnah, the part that makes others comfortable, and ignored the half that teaches us how to protect our hearts, our homes, and our mental well-being. It's time to reclaim the full sunnah, the balance between mercy and firmness, between compassion and self-respect, between kindness and truth. Many of us have turned our faith into a burden we carry alone. We've convinced ourselves that righteousness means being mistreated again and again, that a good heart means silent suffering. But there is nothing Islamic about self-destruction. There is nothing holy about enabling abuse. Allah never asked you to be everyone's savior. He never commanded you to please everyone. Sometimes your yes to others is a no to your own peace, and that's okay. You are allowed, even encouraged, to say no, to walk away, to protect your heart. That is not arrogance. That is not selfishness. That is self-respect, and self-respect is part of Iman. So if you've ever felt guilty for not being endlessly kind to those who hurt you, let that guilt go. Let it go. Let go of the guilt that was never yours to carry. Let go of the burden others placed on your shoulders by twisting religious values. Let go of the voice inside you whispering, maybe I should have stayed quiet. Maybe I should have given them one more chance. Maybe I'm being too harsh. No, you are not too harsh, you are being honest. You are not walking away because of arrogance, you are walking away because you finally realized pain is not a requirement for piety. Allah does not burden you with the responsibility of pleasing your family, your friends, your boss, your community, not even your critics. Your only job is to please Him, and that often means letting go of the need for human approval. Because the road to Jannah is not always paved with applause. Sometimes it's paved with difficult choices, uncomfortable silences, and courageous boundaries. Allah never says, let people keep breaking you in my name. He never asked you to suffer for the comfort of others. He never told you to lose yourself to prove your love for Him. He does not require your kindness to come at the cost of your mental and emotional well-being. Because your well-being matters to Allah. Your heart, your peace, your mental clarity, these are all part of the amana He entrusted you with. It is not Islam to destroy yourself for someone else's comfort. Islam is mercy. Islam is balance. Islam is dignity. Yes, be kind. Because kindness is part of Iman. It is a reflection of your love for Allah. It is a light in dark times. This is what makes this ummah beautiful. But be kind with courage. Have the courage to say no when something is wrong. The courage to speak truth even when it's uncomfortable. The courage to love without losing yourself. Be kind with balance, not too much, not too little. Give but don't empty yourself. Forgive but don't forget what the pain taught you. Stand firm without cruelty. Be kind with clarity. Know the difference between kindness that heals and kindness that enables. Between compassion and fear. Between sincerity and self-erasure. Because kindness without limits isn't kindness anymore. It becomes quiet suffering. It becomes spiritual fatigue. It becomes emotional burnout. And that is not what Allah wants for His servants. He wants you to live with dignity, to give from a full heart, not a broken one, to walk through this world not crushed by expectations, but uplifted by truth, balance, and divine mercy. So don't let the world shame you for doing what Allah has already given you permission to do, to protect yourself, to say enough, to walk away in peace. That is not weakness. That is wisdom. That is Islam. My dear brothers and sisters, some of you hearing this right now, you've been carrying too much for too long. Not just responsibilities, but emotional weight, silent pain. You've been giving so much of yourself that you've lost sight of your own limits. You've been too kind for too long, and that's not a flaw. That's a reality many live in. You've gone above and beyond for people who rarely, if ever, made room for you. You've shown up while you were exhausted. You've given while your own cup was empty. You've loved deeply without it being returned. You've helped people not once, not twice, but over and over. And many of them never even said thank you. They took your kindness for granted. They turned your generosity into obligation. You were there for them at their lowest, but when you needed them, they were nowhere, nowhere to be found. And still, you didn't complain. You brushed it off. You made excuses for them because that's just the kind of person you are. They disrespected you and you forgave. They lied to you and you forgave. They let you down again and again, and you still forgave. Each time you told yourself, maybe this will be the last time. You hoped, you believed, you convinced yourself, they'll change. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I'm just being too sensitive. But deep down, the hurt started to pile up, quietly, secretly, until it got too heavy to carry. And still, you stayed silent. Not because you had nothing to say, but because you were trying to do the right thing. You told yourself, let me stay quiet out of respect. I don't want to create conflict. Maybe Allah will reward me for staying patient. Even when people mocked you, even when they betrayed you, even when they twisted your words or misjudged your heart, you held your tongue, not out of weakness, but because your heart was trying to preserve peace. You thought, maybe this is what a good Muslim does. Maybe silence is strength. Maybe suffering quietly brings reward. But I need to tell you something you may have never been told. Suffering silently is not always a virtue. Islam does not ask you to be a punching bag for the world. It does not call you to be mistreated in the name of patience. It does not expect you to stay silent while being harmed. This idea that being good means letting people walk all over you, that's not from the Quran. That's not from the Sunnah. That's not Islam. Yes, Islam teaches forgiveness. Yes, Islam teaches patience. Yes, Islam tells us to respond to evil with good, but not at the cost of your dignity, not at the cost of your soul, not when the harm is deliberate, consistent, and unrepentant. You are not being noble by allowing yourself to be hurt repeatedly. You are not being the bigger person by staying silent while others attack your character. You are not gaining reward by enabling abuse. And if you ever doubt that, look to the one we were sent to follow, the Prophet, the most merciful human being to ever walk this earth. His heart was vast. His compassion was unmatched. He forgave those who tried to kill him. He prayed for those who cursed him. He wept for his ummah. But he also set boundaries. He didn't allow his mercy to be manipulated. He didn't let his silence be mistaken for weakness. He didn't keep hypocrites close just to appear kind. He didn't stay near those who repeatedly betrayed trust. He had the power to punish, and sometimes he chose mercy. But he also held people accountable when needed. He taught us that real kindness is never without wisdom. True mercy does not ignore justice. And compassion does not mean self-erasure. He spoke up when truth needed to be spoken, even if it upset people. He walked away from toxicity, even if those people had once been close. He drew boundaries with those who used religion for control. Being a believer doesn't mean being abused. And you are allowed to do the same. You are allowed to say, I will not let you treat me like this anymore. I forgive you, but I need to protect my peace. I'm walking away, not in anger, but in dignity. That's not arrogance. That's not pride. That is wisdom. And that is the Sunnah. So don't let the world convince you that you're a bad Muslim for having boundaries. Don't let anyone guilt you into believing that silence is always piety. Sometimes the most faithful thing you can do is speak. Sometimes it's to walk away. Sometimes it's to protect your heart from more harm. Let's take a moment. Let's step back from the noise of cultural pressure, family expectations, and unspoken community rules, and reflect deeply. Because somewhere along the way, many of us were raised not by Quran or Sunnah, but by culture to believe that being a good Muslim means always staying silent, always turning the other cheek, always forgiving no matter the cost. We were raised in homes where the loudest person won, and we were told, just be patient. We were taught to absorb disrespect, to never speak up, to stay even when we were emotionally breaking. And if we ever said, "This is hurting me," we were made to feel guilty, as if standing up for ourselves meant we were going against the Deen, as if Islam demands silence, as if it demands suffering, as if our faith requires emotional erasure. But here's the truth. That's not Islam. That's not what Allah teaches. That's not what the Prophet lived. Let us go straight to the words of Allah. In Surah An-Nahl, 16 hours 90 minutes, Allah reveals something profound, something that should challenge and shatter many of the false assumptions we've carried for too long. Indeed, Allah commands justice, excellence, and giving to relatives, and He forbids immorality, oppression, and arrogance. Do you notice something? Allah doesn't begin this powerful verse by commanding silence. He doesn't begin by telling you to forgive at all costs. He doesn't say, endure whatever people do to you. He begins with justice, because justice is the foundation of balance, the foundation of mercy, the foundation of peace. You cannot have real mercy if there is no justice. You cannot have meaningful forgiveness if there is no accountability. You cannot build healthy relationships where one person is consistently crushed and the other continues taking without consequence. Justice comes first. Allah is telling us, stand for what is right. Be excellent, yes. Be generous, yes. But never compromise justice to get there. And then He continues, He forbids immorality. He forbids oppression. He forbids arrogance. What does this mean for us? It means that staying silent in the face of harm isn't always patience. Sometimes it's enabling oppression. It means allowing others to cross every boundary isn't humility. The self-neglect. It means thinking you're being righteous by tolerating abuse might actually mean you're aiding injustice. And Allah does not love injustice. Allah never commands suffering for its own sake. He does not ask you to remain in pain while those hurting you remain unaccountable. He does not endorse an Islam that turns into one-sided sacrifice, where only you give, only you suffer, only you stay silent. That's not spiritual strength. That's not patience. That's not Islam. That's unaccountable Islam, a distorted version rooted in fear, guilt, and cultural pressure. So remember this powerful ayah. Remember what Allah begins with, justice. Let it reshape how you think. Let it give you permission to speak up, set boundaries, protect your heart, walk away from harm, seek justice not just for others but for yourself. That too is worship. That too is Islam. Why do you think justice comes first? Because when justice is missing, even mercy can be manipulated. Even kindness can be used against you. Even patience can become a prison. You cannot build a healthy relationship on forgiveness alone. You cannot build a strong community on kindness alone. There must be accountability. There must be balance. There must be justice. Justice means you don't have to keep tolerating behavior that crushes your soul. You can say, what happened to me was not okay. You can leave a space or a relationship that causes harm without guilt. Yes, Allah loves the patient, but He also forbids oppression. And sometimes, when you remain silent for too long, you're not just suffering. You're allowing oppression to continue. Islam is peace, yes, but peace begins with justice. Islam doesn't ask you to carry the pain someone else causes and call it worship. Worship is supposed to bring you closer to Allah. It's supposed to give you peace. It's supposed to elevate your soul, not bury it under the weight of someone else's wrongdoing. Sadly, many people, especially those with soft hearts, have been conditioned to believe that enduring emotional pain in silence is somehow an act of piety. That being broken by someone's cruelty is somehow pleasing to Allah. That letting yourself be walked on is humility. That tolerating manipulation and disrespect is righteousness. But that's not Islam. That's not what the Quran teaches. That's not the example of our beloved Prophet. Islam never asks you to carry the emotional consequences of someone else's wrongdoing and pretend it's sabr. Yes, patience is beloved. Yes, forgiveness is rewarded, but not at the cost of your dignity, not at the cost of your emotional and mental health, not at the cost of your self-worth. Islam doesn't want you to suffer silently and call it sabr, when deep down you're just afraid. Afraid to speak up. Afraid to confront the wrong. Afraid of being seen as difficult or disobedient. But there is a difference. A very real, very important difference. Sabr is when you hold back anger for the sake of Allah. Silence, when it is rooted in wisdom, is strength. But silence rooted in fear is not sabr. It's emotional suppression. And that is often the consequence of years of being told, be quiet. Be the bigger person. Don't cause problems. But Islam is not about being passive. It is not about letting wrongs go unchecked. The Prophet spoke up when things were unjust, even when it cost him relationships, even when it cost him comfort, even when it cost him his safety. He defended others, yes, but he also defended himself. He didn't remain silent when boundaries were crossed. He didn't confuse submission to Allah with submission to abuse. And thus we made you a balanced nation. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:143. Balance, that's what Allah loves. Balance is the mark of a true believer. Balance in your prayers. Balance in your work. Balance in your emotions. Balance in your forgiveness. Balance in your patience. And balance means knowing. There's a time to be quiet and a time to speak. A time to forgive and a time to walk away. A time to stay and a time to say, enough. There is a time to speak, a time to forgive, and a time to walk away. A time to endure, and a time to protect yourself. You are not being un-Islamic for guarding your heart. You are not sinful for saying, this is not okay. You are not selfish for stepping away from what is destroying your peace. Islam calls you to live with mercy, yes, but also with strength. And sometimes strength means saying, I deserve better, not because you think you're perfect, but because you are a servant of Allah. And Allah honors the soul He created. Justice with mercy, strength with softness, truth with compassion. It is not righteousness to destroy your emotional well-being just to make others comfortable. It is not a virtue to let your kindness become the very thing that breaks you. Sometimes we believe we're doing good by staying silent, by not confronting, by quietly enduring. But ask yourself, if the Prophet, our example in all things, were in your situation, what would he do? He was the most merciful, yes, but he also spoke the truth even when it was hard to hear. He forgave, but only when forgiveness came with sincerity, not manipulation. He distanced himself from those who used religion to control and harm. He confronted hypocrisy. He challenged injustice. He stood up not just for the oppressed, but also for himself. So if you've ever been told that walking away is sinful, if you've been made to feel like saying no means you lack faith, if you're carrying guilt because you finally chose peace over people, let me remind you, you're not sinful for saying, I need space. You're not arrogant for choosing self-respect. You're not harsh for setting boundaries. You're being wise. And wisdom, ikmah, is a sign of maturity, a sign of faith, a sign that you've stopped reacting from guilt and started living with purpose. Don't let anyone shame you for honoring your boundaries. Don't let anyone convince you that pleasing people is more important than protecting your soul. Even the Prophet said, the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak believer, though both are good. Sahih Muslim. Strength isn't just physical. It's emotional. It's spiritual. It's moral. It's knowing when to stay and when to walk away. So let your heart rest in this truth. You were never created to be consumed by others. You were created to walk this earth with balance, with dignity, and with peace. And that starts with embracing the justice Allah commands. In your home, in your relationships, and within yourself. To the kind soul reading this, the one who keeps showing up, the one who forgives when it's hard, the one who stays silent not because they agree, but because they don't want to hurt others. You've lived with sincerity. You've given your all with grace, with patience, with effort. But maybe now you're tired. Tired of being misunderstood. Tired of being taken for granted. Tired of always being expected to be the bigger person. Tired of giving and getting so little in return. Let me say this clearly. You are not weak. Your softness is not weakness. It's strength in a harsh world. Your patience is not weakness, it's self-control. It's sabr. Your silence isn't weakness. Sometimes it's wisdom. Sometimes it's restraint. Sometimes it's your way of avoiding greater harm. But please also know this: being strong does not mean tolerating harm. Being patient does not mean accepting abuse. Being good does not mean being used. You are not un-Islamic for having limits. You are not a bad Muslim because you said enough is enough. You are not disobedient because you walked away from what was breaking you. You are not harsh for valuing your peace, your mental health, your spiritual clarity. In fact, setting boundaries is maturity. Knowing when to let go is tawakkul. And honoring your soul is understanding your worth in the eyes of Allah. Yes, Islam teaches us to smile, because a smile can soften hearts, can heal someone's day. Sadaqah, it reflects the beauty of our Deen. Yes, Islam teaches us mercy, because Allah is Ar-Ram, because the Prophet was the embodiment of mercy, because mercy builds bridges and keeps hearts soft. Yes, Islam encourages generosity, with your wealth, your time, your kindness, your love. But Islam never asks you to give from a place of guilt. It does not ask you to serve others because you're afraid of disappointing them. It does not ask you to keep saying yes just to avoid being called selfish. It does not ask you to pour from an empty heart just to keep the peace. Do it for Allah. Do it from a place of sincerity, not emotional pressure. Do it from peace, not fear. Do it from strength, not self-destruction. Because giving when your soul is breaking is not generosity. It's slow, quiet harm to yourself. And Allah never asked you to hurt yourself to prove your goodness. Give with wisdom, not with blind kindness. Not everyone deserves full access to your heart. Not everyone who asks should receive. Not everyone who smiles at you is sincere. And if someone takes your kindness, your character, your compassion, and uses it against you, if they keep hurting you over and over, simply because they know you'll forgive, that's not your failure. That's their test, not your fault. Protect yourself. Protecting yourself is not selfish. It is your responsibility. It is your right to step back, to protect your peace, to learn from the pain, and to grow in wisdom. The Prophet Muhammad taught us something deeply powerful. The believer is not stung from the same hole twice. Al-Bukhari, that means you're allowed to learn. You're allowed to say, this happened once. I won't allow it again. You're allowed to use your pain as a lesson, not a lifestyle. You're allowed to close the door without holding a grudge. The Prophet didn't just forgive, he learned. He protected himself. He distanced himself from those who repeatedly caused harm. He didn't let himself be deceived in the name of mercy, and neither should you. So don't let anyone guilt you for choosing peace. Don't let anyone tell you that boundaries are un-Islamic. Don't let society drown out the voice in your heart that quietly whispers, I need space. I need rest. I need peace. Learn from the pain. Learn from it. Then walk forward, not with bitterness, but with dignity. You are not here to be consumed by people. You are here to be a servant of Allah. And your well-being, your peace, your heart, your soul are a sacred trust, amana, from Him. Guard it. Don't trade your peace for approval. Don't trade your dignity for praise. Don't trade your connection with Allah for the comfort of those who don't care for your soul. Instead, live with grace, speak with truth, give with wisdom, forgive with boundaries, love, but love yourself enough to walk away when it's time. That, my brothers and sisters, is not weakness, it is wisdom, and it is part of your Islam. Kindness is a noble character trait. Kindness is not just a good habit. It is a noble trait, a divine reflection, prophetic legacy, one of the most valuable gifts you can offer another soul, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Kindness can soften the hardest heart, can heal what words cannot, can lift someone who feels invisible. Sometimes it doesn't just change a moment, it changes a life. But kindness isn't only about what you give, it's about what it reveals about you. Because to be kind in a cruel world is proof that your heart is still alive, that pain hasn't made you bitter, that disappointment hasn't made you cold, that despite everything you still choose gentleness. Why? Because Allah loves it. The Prophet was the perfect embodiment of this. He was described in the Quran as a mercy to the worlds. Surah Al-Anbiya 21:107. To the believer and the disbeliever, to the child and the enemy, to the poor and the powerful. He forgave those who mocked him. He made du'a for those who hurt him. He never raised his voice out of ego. He never used power to belittle. He was gentle in speech, soft in tone, and powerful in presence. And when he had the upper hand, he used it to forgive, not to punish. That's what real kindness looks like. Kindness is not weakness. Kindness is not passivity. It's not pretending to agree. It's not about pleasing people. It's about being firm in principle, yet leading with mercy. It's having every reason to be harsh and still choosing compassion. But understand this clearly. Kindness is not weakness. Some will try to make you feel like it is. That to be kind means you're naive, that you're a pushover, that you're too soft to survive. But the truth? Takes far more strength to be kind than to be cruel. It takes discipline to hold your tongue when you're angry. It takes spiritual maturity to choose understanding over judgment. It takes trust in Allah to show mercy even when you have every right to retaliate. Kindness isn't a flaw. It's a strength of the soul. It's a sign that your heart is connected to Allah, that your character reflects the Sunnah, that your ego isn't in control. And in Islam, kindness isn't optional. It's not just a suggestion. It's a command. Allah says, and speak to people good words. Surah Al-Baqarah 2 hours 83 minutes. The Prophet said, Allah is kind and loves kindness in all matters. Sahih al-Bukhari. But kindness must have boundaries. So yes, kindness is beautiful. It is noble. It is prophetic. It is beloved to Allah. But here's the truth. Even kindness must come with balance. Because kindness without wisdom can become self-destruction. Kindness without boundaries can become self-neglect. This is where many go wrong. When you continue giving to those who keep taking advantage. When you keep forgiving those who mock your forgiveness. When your silence becomes a shield for someone else's wrong. Your kindness is no longer helping. It's hurting. You begin to lose yourself trying to save relationships that are already broken. You carry guilt for not doing more, even when you've already done too much. You mistake enabling for loyalty. Allah doesn't want you to lose yourself. Let me be clear. Allah doesn't want you to lose yourself in the name of kindness. He doesn't want you to destroy your soul in the name of patience. He doesn't want your silence to protect those who continue to harm. You were not created to be walked over. You were not sent here to be consumed. You are a servant of Allah, and your heart is sacred. Your peace is an amana. Your dignity matters. So give, but give wisely. Forgive, but with discernment. Love, but not at the cost of your own well-being. Because true kindness is not how much you allow others to take. It's how much you are still standing, still smiling, and still close to Allah, after all is said and done. Islam doesn't want you to lose yourself. Eventually, your emotional wounds begin to deepen, while the world praises you for your patience. But know this, Allah does not want you to lose yourself in the name of kindness. You were not created to be emotionally trampled, so others can feel better about themselves. That is not kindness. That is slow self-destruction. And Islam never calls you to destroy yourself. Not emotionally, not spiritually, not mentally. Islam is a religion of mercy. We often hear about showing mercy to others, but we forget Allah expects us to show mercy to ourselves too. He commands balance. He praises moderation, even in acts of worship. Allah tells us not to push ourselves beyond our limits. So how could it be from Islam to break your spirit for people who don't even value your sacrifice? Your life, your time, your heart, they are amanat, trusts from Allah. You are commanded to protect them, allowing them to be shattered. For the sake of pleasing people is not righteousness. It is a painful mistake, what they don't see. So next time someone says, "Why aren't you being nice to everyone?" Pause, reflect. That question might come from someone who has never seen your battle. They don't know the weight of your silence, the exhaustion behind your patience, the tears you shed behind closed doors, when you felt alone in your goodness. They don't see how many chances you gave, how many nights you prayed for those who hurt you, how long you stayed quiet before finally speaking up. They don't see what it cost you to stay kind. Kindness is not naivety, so when they question your change, don't explain with anger. Don't defend yourself out of guilt. Instead, speak with clarity. Islam taught me to be kind, not to be naive. Yes, Islam commands kindness, but it also commands intelligence, boundaries, awareness. The Prophet had a soft heart, but firm principles. He forgave, but he also distanced himself from repeated harm. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Don't confuse mercy with self-betrayal. Naivety is not a virtue in Islam. To be naive is to call emotional harm sabr, to enable manipulation and call it mercy, to confuse emotional abuse with religious duty. Our Deen is too wise, too just, too balanced to ask that of you. Kindness in Islam is intentional. It's wrapped in taqwa. It's grounded in clarity. And it comes with boundaries. That's not weakness. That's prophetic character. Don't try to please people. You're not here to please people. This world is full of expectations. Some will love you when you give, and walk away when you don't. Some will respect your silence, and turn on you the moment you speak. If you live for people's approval, you'll lose yourself. One day you'll be too quiet, the next, too loud, too soft, too firm, too much, not enough. You will never win with people committed to misunderstanding you. And Islam never asked you to try. Allah loves balance. Allah doesn't want you to become hard-hearted, but He also doesn't want you to be broken-hearted by people who take your softness for weakness. He loves those who are merciful, forgiving, gentle, but also just, principled, dignified without arrogance. So yes, be kind, but be strong. Yes, be generous, but with wisdom. Yes, be patient, but not with oppression. Because the best believers are not just kind, they are balanced. Set boundaries. May Allah give you the wisdom to set boundaries. Because sometimes, what we lack is not love, but clarity. We love deeply, but don't know when to stop. We give endlessly, but forget to refill our own soul. We forgive repeatedly, but think forgiveness means staying in harm's way. So I ask Allah to grant you insight, strength, and guidance, to help you know when to speak and when to walk away, to help you distinguish between mercy and self-betrayal, to give you the courage to say no when your soul is suffocating, even when the world expects you to keep saying yes. Close your heart or guard it when you've been hurt too many times, when your sincerity wasn't enough. It becomes easy to close your heart, to say, I won't care anymore, to become cold, to stop trusting, to stop giving. But I ask Allah, the turner of hearts, to keep your heart soft, to protect you from becoming numb, to shield your spirit from the pain that turns gentleness into hardness. May you heal without hate. May you forgive without forgetting the lesson. May you grow without losing the sweetness of your soul, because your heart is not weak. It is a treasure, and Allah sees every time it was broken, and you still chose to do good. Every moment of kindness is recorded. May Allah reward you for every time you smiled while bleeding inside, every time you made dua for someone who never appreciated you, every time you extended a hand only for it to be let go, every time you stayed silent, not out of fear but adab, every time you gave while needing, every time you stood alone in your values, every act of kindness, even the unseen ones, because maybe the world didn't notice, maybe the people didn't care, but Allah did, and His reward is not based on results. It's based on your sincerity. Seeds of Allah. So hold your head high, not in pride, but in gratitude, because every act of kindness, even the ones that broke you, are seeds that Allah will water, and one day, in this life or the next, He will give you something better in return. Ameen. Go in peace. walk with strength, and live with the quiet confidence that Allah is enough and always has been.